Hello, we are 4 nursing students from Clemson's class of 2015. This is Sydney Edwards, Caitlin Phillips, Marshall Pritchett, and I'm Paige Macon. Today we're interviewing Miss Kathleen Swinney. Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. I'm glad to be here.
And I'd like to ask the first question. What is your family history of breast cancer?
My sister at the age of 37 was diagnosed with breast cancer. It was already invaded into her lymph nodes. My cousin has breast cancer as well. My uncle actually just passed away 2 months ago of breast cancer. So those are the 3 family members with breast cancer, but we all carry the gene, myself and my younger sister as well.
How do you feel the occurrence of the BRCA1 gene will affect your family in the future?
That's a good question. I actually have 3 sons, and one of them actually asked me the other day, Mom, am I going to get breast cancer? Because his great uncle just passed of it as a male, and it's not as common in males clearly because they don't have the breast tissue, as much breast tissue as women. When they're 18, they're going to have to be tested for the gene. The doctor said that they have a 50-50 chance of getting the breast cancer gene. So, that's just something that remains to be seen. But fortunately, I do have 3 boys, so it would not be as
devastating.
Yes, as devastating as it would be to girls, because it's just going to be a less percentage for boys, but they do still, definitely have a 50-50 chance of carrying the gene.
What made you decide to get genetic testing?
My sister and my cousin at 37 were both going through breast cancer, and it was pretty invasive, and they had no idea they had the gene. But usually doctors say maybe if you're in your 30s and you get breast cancer, a red flag kind of goes up. So a year after she'd already finished her chemo and everything, her doctors did genetic testing on her, and she was BRCA positive. So she called my other sister and I and said, I hate to tell you this, but I'm a BRCA carrier, and my oncologist said that you both have 50% chance of carrying the gene. So I knew then that I needed to go get genetic counseling and then be tested, because, if you carry the gene, it's 89% of your life that you're going to get breast cancer. So I needed to know. So because of her, that's why I decided to get tested.
Can you tell me how the process of genetic testing works?
Yes, actually it was really quite simple. It is, I went off, now anyone can have genetic counseling, or genetic testing rather, I'm sorry, but because my sister already had it done, the doctors used her information and her paperwork, and they had a gene to actually pinpoint. I'm not sure how all that works, but they got all her information. So for me, I was able to go to the genetic counselor. She went over all our family's pedigree and history and showed where the gene was coming from, and then it was just a simple blood test. I don't know if you want me to get into the price at the moment and all that.
Not yet.
But anyway, so it was very simple. It was very simple to do, but I went off of all of her information. So if you have a family member that has got information and you're not the first one to have it done, you need to bring all of their records, medical records, and the doctor will know what to do with those.
How would you say the nurses affected the entire process from the start to the recovery?
Oh, the nurses were wonderful. I love nurses because I think they're just the ones I'm not just saying that because y'all are here, but they were wonderful. They were so sweet and just kind, and the doctors were wonderful too, but they're more methodical and have a job to do, and the nurses totally understand the whole process, but they have a lot of love and a little more time and patience, I think, with you, and they will spend a lot of time explaining the different aspects to you. They were a huge part.
How knowledgeable were your nurses about the technical side of a mastectomy?
They were very knowledgeable. I had one nurse in particular that she walked me through everything that was going to happen. She explained where the drains were going to be, that she explained how my incisions were going to be made. She explained, what I would feel, the side effects, and how long that would take. She just explained the whole process to me. It was explained by my doctors as well, but sometimes I think when you're in there listening to the doctor talk to you, if you are having a mastectomy, it's not for a good reason probably, and it's overwhelming, so you really don't hear what they're saying the first time, and hopefully y'all don't have to experience that, but you're kind of you're just kind of in a fog. So there's so many times you have to go to your nurses and say, now what did she say again? Now how long is the recovery? Now where am I going to be cut? And they were wonderful, so knowledgeable, so helpful, and they knew everything the doctor knew.
If you don't mind me asking, how much did you pay for your genetic testing?
Well, actually, it only cost me $300. An initial test by my sister was $3,000 for the initial test, so that's a lot. And now it could have changed, but you could probably expect that ballpark. So that's why most people, I mean, that's outrageous. And but anyway, if you have a family member to go off of, then mine was only $300. My little sister's was only $300. So it was, that's more doable. $3,000 is,
Very steep.
What was insurance's role in covering the cost, and was it considered just cosmetic?
That's a very interesting question. I paid for the genetic testing out of my pocket. I paid the $300 for that. But now the mastectomy, they covered all but my deductible. It was not, it was not considered cosmetic. They have passed a law, I don't know, I think it was through the Susan G. Komen, but I could be wrong, but a law was passed years ago that if you have to have a mastectomy, that insurance has to cover the reconstruction if you so choose. So because no one's having a mastectomy for cosmetic purposes, so they realize that. And so the reconstruction for a woman would be, is supposed to be covered. So we just paid the deductible, but the rest was covered.
What was the final deciding factor in getting your mastectomy?
It took me a year and a half to decide to have the genetic test, and a lot of friends were like, I would have gone the next day, I would want to know, but I was real laid back about it. I thought, I don't have that gene, so it took me a year and a half to finally just go get the blood drawn to see, and maybe subconsciously I was trying to put that off, I don't know. But as soon as I found out, we didn't even more leave the doctor's office that I was telling my husband I have to have a mastectomy. I think because when someone, I was 34 and had 3 small children, and someone just pushes the paper in front of you and it says positive for genetic mutation, and I'm more than likely going to get breast cancer. And I felt blessed to have that information. What my sister and cousin did not have, they didn't have an option. They had to have a mastectomy plus go through chemotherapy, fight for their life, lose their hair, everything. But if I could prevent that, then I just felt like that was a no-brainer. If someone's telling you, it's 90% chance of rain, you're probably going to bring the umbrella. So I was like, I don't have a choice. So I really tried to look at it as a blessing, though, to know that I had this gene and, hey, I have an option to do something about it. And so my older sister, to see her go through it, and she's like, I wish I knew what you did. She said it was not the mastectomy that was so hard, but it was the chemotherapy and worrying every day if my cancer's going to come back. So it was a combination of those things. I knew that that's what I needed to do.
How long was the recovery process, and how much pain were you in?
And y'all are all nurses, so you're aware of the different things that can help you moderate and take pain management, I'm sure. The actual 2 days I was in the hospital, I experienced no pain whatsoever, and I think it was something called a morphine pump. That's probably why. I didn't realize it at the time, but I had no pain, and I was just happy as a lark those 2 days. I didn't know. And then I came home, and I was okay. But on day 2 when I was home, I was extremely nauseated, and that's when my nurses came in because I called her, and and I was vomiting, and I was in so much pain from coming off of the morphine, I believe, because they're cutting you open so clearly. And my nurse was so helpful, and she was like, oh honey, I don't want, this is what's happening, and we need to get you some Phenergan. And so I did experience pain at home in that regard, a lot of nausea and some severe pain on my chest. But I would say by day 7, it was gone. I just maybe needed to take 1 pain tablet a day for 7 days, and then I was fine.
What have been the lasting effects?
Well, I think number 1, the lasting effect was to be my total peace of mind, knowing that my chances were, close to 90% of getting breast cancer. And breast cancer is so curable, but like a lot of people, it's not in every case. There are times it will spread, it will metastasize, and no one wants to take that chance. And so going from 90% chance, close to, of having it in my life, to now I have less than 1% chance of getting breast cancer because there's really no breast tissue remaining. So I would say that's the number one lasting effect, is just peace of mind that breast cancer, you know, something else may happen to me, but I know that I have done what I could, you know, to handle that. So that, to me, that's the number one. And being able to just help anybody that maybe is going through a mastectomy or who's scared, you know, something that I can do to help them and reassure them that it's not that bad. They can do it.
If you went back to the beginning, would you say that there was anything that you would do differently?
No, I would not. Not at all. I was, that was the greatest peace. I mean, God just gave me a huge peace. I went into the mastectomy. I knew what I needed to do. I was peaceful. I felt blessed. And when you go into the doctor's office and have to see different oncologists, and you see, you know, people there who are dying. I mean, and some make it, some don't. But I'm just sitting in there with all these, you know, women who are bald, who are sick. It's just a visible reminder of, oh, their bodies, you know, are they're decaying. They have a cancer eating at them. It's such a terrible thing. So I was sitting there in the office like, who cares if I had to have a mastectomy? That's no big deal compared to what these women are going through and fighting for their life every day. So I wouldn't do anything different. I feel blessed to have the knowledge. I would do it again in a heartbeat. And I would encourage, you know, any woman who was facing the same thing to just do that and have the peace. And then you can, you know, help somebody else. Because if you can prevent cancer and you know it, I think you were given that knowledge for a reason.
Well, those are all the questions we have for you. Thank you so much. I think it's truly inspiring that you want to help and that you're willing to talk about it and be so open with it. I think that's absolutely wonderful. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Good luck to all of y'all.
And it is okay if this is put on YouTube and shown for our nursing class?
Sure. Yes, sure.